holy water space for me, it is, I feel like, regardless of how successful the concept is fiscally this year, next year, the year after, this brand's going to do great things. It's going to help people. It's going to get you a better night's sleep. It's going to get your gut healthier. It's going to put you in a mindset that you don't need to have that 15th tall boy. It's going to help you focus to get through that day. And that to me is, I know again, it's cliche, but that at the end of the day is why you do it, right? You don't just do it because you're going to run up a $2 billion deal. But at the end of the day, we do this because we want to make a great product for people. So, support us to try it. That's the biggest thing.
Hello, Startup CPG listeners. This is Grace, and I'm here with another founder feature. Today, I'm interviewing BJ McCaslin, the co-founder of Holy Water. Holy Water is a health and wellness brand that creates multiple beverages to solve use occasions throughout the day, like hydration, focus, performance, and non-alcoholic social tonics. BJ is an industry veteran with over 20 years in the beverage space. We talk all about where he sees the functional non-alcoholic category going, how he sees Holy Water fitting in, and why he believes that human capital is the most important component to success. I loved this interview, and as always, let me know what you think. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Startup CPG podcast. This is Grace, and today I am joined by BJ McCaslin, the co-founder of Holy Water. Welcome to the show, BJ.
Thank you, Grace. I appreciate you having me.
Yes, so excited to have you here. And for our listeners, BJ is repping a hat that is, representing the brand Holy Water. So I'd love for you to let our listeners know, who is Holy Water.
I love it. Fresh off of the Startup CPG section at Expo West. So that's how I actually booked this date. Super exciting for us. We love the inclusion in Startup CPG. It's just an amazing platform, getting on there every day and clicking through what people are talking about. It's inspiring, it's motivating, and super informational. So Holy Water, it's a culmination of really the things that I love, right? We say your health is sacred, so drink holy water. I've been a beverage and hospitality entrepreneur since 2004. I opened my first restaurant when I was 21. And 4 or 5 years later, I learned how to fail with a family project. And then I sold a company to Vita Coco after I launched it. 60 days later, I sold it to Vita Coco.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So holy water has been something that I've been brewing up literally in my mind for the past 15 years. We utilize the best ingredients and we create SKUs that solve numerous use occasions in your life throughout your day. So we have a hydration SKU, we have a performance SKU, recovery, we have a focus SKU, and then we also have non-alcoholic social tonics. So we are partnered with Live Nation as a live vendor. We're sold as a mocktail on premise.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then we're a functional beverage in the grocery channel and in independent C stores. So we utilize something really unique. My partner is a biochemist, PhD, and my other partner Jasmine is a hustler. What we do is we utilize this ketone molecule. So there's only 4 brands in the world that are using this molecule. Either it's beta hydroxybutyrate, known as BHB, or it's R13-butane-diol, and that is 10 grams of that in our each can. So an enormous amount of an effective ingredient, right? When you look at the top people in our lane that are really, really dope brands that I love and that are crushing it, their max is like 4, 5, 6 grams. Some are 2 grams, right? And this one ingredient per can is 10 grams. And then we layer on with that ketone, functional mushrooms, and then also nootropics. So that's kind of like our holy grail is those 3 items. And then what we do in each SKU is we create another specific aspect of a formula. So our focus SKU has Go-To Cola, Ginkgo biloba, all these really cool things. Our performance SKU has creatine in it. Our non-alc has the hemp in it. So we really canvas and have scoured every great ingredient and we put them into these cans. And so I love it. It's funny because the ingredients we use taste terrible. And so it's taking me so long to create this flavor profile. I finished one in like a year. I'm on going on a year now to finish the other 2 SKUs, and then the other one's been out. So we'll have the whole portfolio out probably early May, and we're stoked. We're just launching retail. We're like a year old now, right? So we've been in business since really selling the product in July, but we came out with our first non-alc in March of last year.
Yeah, so exciting. And I think first tried your product actually last summer when you guys were just launching, I think in July at Fancy Foods. Your co-founder Jasmine brought some of the product to our party, and it was like the perfect thing to have after we'd been on our feet, tired all day, didn't necessarily want an alcoholic beverage at this party. And so she brought all the holy water, and it was like such a big hit among our, crew of Startup CPG people, but also just generally was a hit. And so it was kind of the perfect addition there, but really exciting. And I'm curious how do you develop these SKUs so that you can mask the flavor while also not adding in? Because I hear, sometimes people just mask it, right, with a bunch of like shit and sugar and, XYZ. And so how do you go about the development process to retain like kind of the high quality ingredients you're talking about while also masking maybe some of these flavors that are not as desirable?
Right. Well, I'm lucky. That's how I got into the industry. Just like these are some R&D samples I received this morning. It's really cool to be able to work with the food scientists and to work at bench, and I love that process. And when I got in anything I do, I really try to make myself an expert, right? So I really try to go deep and be a sponge and learn from the people around me. And so utilizing these ingredients, understanding the biggest thing is like your sweetener system, right? What are you going to sweeten it with? And is it going to be sugar? Then how many grams of sugar? Is it going to be juice? Well, how many grams of sugar derived from the juice? Is it monk fruit, stevia, allulose, erythritol, sucralose? So that's where I really start. It's like, okay, here's a flavor profile. Here's how much sugar I want. And then do I want to add a real juice to it? And then, okay, now where does the pH need to be? So it does get technical. I'm not that educated. I went to college and I played football. I was a backup quarterback at Kentucky. And I'm mastered it in political science, so really, the understanding of what goes on, when you start talking about bricks and pH levels, it's over my head. But that's why I work with flavor scientists. I have a great group. I have numerous people. I work with Paula. I work with Clarendon. I work with a lot of good people in the industry. So we start with that, and then we just iterate. I'm actually flying to Fort Walton, on Friday. I'm helping a friend. I'm making him a coffee. His brand's called Beach Weekend. So, we're trying it all, and we're gonna try them all in one sitting, and we'll be done with it. And so that's the same thing. That's the sentiment I bring into what I do with Holy Water. And you want to make sure they're great SKUs, right? It's funny because a distributor just turned me down yesterday after like 8 months, and they like literally made the email so personal to my employee to like, man, I took it to everybody and everybody hated it, right? And it's just like I was like, "But bro, you had this thing for 8 months. Like you couldn't have told me this in 8 days or 8 weeks. Like you were sending me this when the Dodgers won the Super Bowl and all that. I know they don't play the Super Bowl. But I was just like, "What are we doing?" And he's like, I really put my job on the line here." And I was just like, "Okay, man." I just sent him back a meme like, "Thank you, hopefully we could work together in the future." But it's a big distributor too, so it's like and they sell a ton of, health and wellness products, and it's in, a market that is very predominant for health and wellness, so it's funny to see how some people take it, and then it's also great to see that what you're doing is effective, and you know that you're doing the right thing. I love what's going on, like, with Poppy. My friend Ruby ran Poppy and Chris, and I love what's going on around the culture with, like, Popkin and Lemon Perfect, and obviously my colleagues back at Vita Coco. I love flavor. My Chihuahuas love flavor. But I know at the end of the day, I love health and I love efficiency, and that's effectiveness. And so these drinks that we make, yeah, we put a lot into them. 17 grams of effective ingredients, and it tastes like shit until we make it taste good. And then that's really when we'll come out with it. And that's why the first SKU took me a year. This next one, I'm almost done with the other two SKUs. They're literally like perfect, but I want them to be amazing. I want you to taste them and be like, wow, because some people try the ketone ingredient on its own. There's a huge, complementing brand that we have in the space, and we love them, and the guy who runs it is so dope, and his energy is amazing, and, we're friends with them, and it's just it's a gnarly molecule, right? And we all know the taste, but it's so effective. So that's what's really cool about it, and we'll never stop using it. Like, I was gonna even use the one that, it's paraxanthium or something like that, and it's a caffeine derivative, but it was so gross when I was making my SKUs. I was like, I'm working with so much other stuff. Just get this thing out of here. This thing is too much. So, yeah, I love the process. I wish it would be a little bit more smooth sometimes, but it is, it's a labor of love.
Yeah, totally. So I'm curious, you mentioned this, long journey with this distributor who didn't end up working out, but it sounds like you have like obviously partnering with Live Nation, and how have you like approached these conversations with possible like retail locations or partnerships like a Live Nation, which seems like a perfect partnership for a brand like Holy Water. Like how have those conversations gone for you?
Yeah, really, my track record, my past. I had a previous relationship with some folks at Live Nation, and that's how we got into that parlay. Even Matt Hughes from Coca-Cola, he's an investor. He's on our board. Really, Christina Schmidt from KeHE, she is a godsend. She is a heck of a woman. But even like I reached out to Eve, and she runs Canteen, and she's like, send me some samples, and I look, and she literally sends me an address 3 houses down from mine, and I was like, "You're my neighbor." I was like, so a lot of it is in, with Startup CPG, I'm coming out to your guys' grocery run in NorCal in 2 weeks. It is just effort, right? So having breaks like Christina from KeHE and their New at KeHE program, KeHE is the most amazing distributor. Their team and their resources are above and beyond. We just brought on a broker, so that broker partner as well is somebody that we have to lean on. But I'm aggressive. Like the range me guys are amazing. Veer and they're really awesome guys. So you have to lean into all these tools. You have to lean into your past. You have to be pleasantly persistent and just knock on doors. And that's even how I sell. It's like it's not if you need it right now, because I know it's an emerging category, and I know my complementary brands in the space that have crushed it, like Hio, who I love, and Parch and Kin and DeSoy, who I compliment on the non-alc side of things. Like they deserve this time. They've put in the work. They've spent the money. And my complimenting brands like Ketone IQ, like they've done the same thing. So we're happy to be in the conversation with them. They lead the category, and that's kind of how we want to go about it. Like I was telling a buyer from Costco at SoCal, he's like, "We're gonna do we have a road show for Holy Water coming up in Los Angeles and Costco." And I was telling another buyer about, I would love to be in their region, and he was talking about a complementing brand running, and I was like, "Man, I love that brand. Like, that is the best brand to start off with right now because it's gonna solidify the liquid to lips, the consumers are gonna love it." And he was like, "Man, this is so refreshing to hear you speak highly about other brands." And I just sold a wine company, to a private equity office in 22, and that's such an aggressive space, and everybody disliked each other. The distributors were so aggressive every day, and I'm an aggressive person in general. If you ask anybody, they call me baby Jesus, but I'm an aggressive baby Jesus. So, um, for me to be able to get into a space where we're now, and I know this is gonna sound cliche, but I think it stems from Startup CPG. I really do. I mean, the way that you guys have made all CPG folks approach this from a place of community and feeling each other's pain and understanding the struggle and uplifting each other. We didn't have that when I started, and it was a very less saturated category, but now it's so saturated. Everybody looks at each other as competition, and it is because there's only so much shelf space in a 4 foot set. But at the end of the day, you earn your right to be there by following up with the people and doing what you need to do. And again, it all starts D2C too. So we put a lot of time into D2C. We've hired some agencies and blown a ton of dough, and they've done nothing, even though they do great for other brands. And then I look back at, okay, well, what did we do wrong in that partnership, right? How did we not ourselves well? And what are we accountable for? And let's go back to the drawing board and make that happen again. So it's a mix, right? A lot of D2C, a lot of blessings from people like Christina KeHE, and then a lot of opportunity. And ECRM is great because they're doing these one-off meetings, and then you guys have these grocery runs. So the more you can put your product in front of people, Darren at Bristol Farms, that guy's a godsend too, right? We went up there, and he's the first retailer to put us in. Ephraim, and Czar at High Touch, the distribution. So when you get a few small people that are early adopters to take you on, that's where the love starts. And if you don't have that, it's tough because I know it's such a tough competing world. What's your anchor account, right? But it's chicken and an egg. You can't start the business. You can't get distribution without an account, but I can't get into your account without distribution. So where do you want me to start? Well, D2C is expensive, and it's not. You're never going to make money shipping water around.
We'll be right back. Hey, do you know about Mini Social? So it takes 7 touch points on average to convert a potential consumer. You can get started by meeting your consumers where they can see you every day on social. Our friends at Mini Social work with brands on micro-influencer amplification and UGC creation. You can get content that's fully licensed for use on your own marketing channels and watch creators post about your products to their audience. Mini Social has been around since 2018, partnering with over 1,000 CPG brands like Bonza, Outstanding Foods, Fly by Jing, Hydrant, Love Wellness, and many more. You can learn how it works by visiting cpg.minisocial.com and take a look at their case studies. Make sure to mention us at Startup CPG for a special discount.
Yeah, totally. And I've heard that from so many beverage brands that DTC is just like so hard to make profitable or worth it in any way. I'm curious where you see, we do see a lot of emerging brands in this category of these like functional non-alcoholic options for events like Live Nation does and also just people's lives in general. And I'm curious where you feel like you see the category going and how you see holy water being a part of that.
I mean, look, that's why when I was leaving the wine project, this is what I told them to do, right? I said, let's make this high margin shot that's small that we can ship online and it's effective. And that's why I have a shot that is, like 87% margin and it's super effective with the ketones, nootropics, functional mushrooms, a little bit of the hemp. But that is like but we're going to do that in a can now because it's more sessionable, but we're gonna do a healthy shot instead of the hemp shot because you see the hemp shot, it's like how messed up am I gonna get? So I'm at Bill's house yesterday, Bill Wyland's, right, the Bellagio, and all the platform guys are there looking, fitted and working out and killing me in ping pong, and I'm just like, having a few beers 'cause I love, to have a few beers, and I'm talking to Josh Takeman, and he's like, "I really don't drink," and I was like, "Yeah, you do," and he's like, "No, I really don't." I was like, "Wow." Okay, so that is really the movement. And Josh is super young. I remember buying Josh's product on Virgin Air eBoost in like 2013, the first time I flew to see Vita Coco in New York on a red eye. Um, and for someone like that who's been in the industry for so long, now he's probably in his mid 40s, and he's just like he looks great. It's like, what's the point of drinking? And that's really where it's moving. And then, folks that are younger than us, they're in the same sort of sentiment, right? You don't get the same. I mean, there is a ton of people who drink still, including me. But, I love that's where the thought really hit me. I was actually at a Grateful Dead show. They sell some CBD at Wrigley Field, and everyone's drinking their tall boys. And you're having your substance of choice. And I'm looking out and I don't need another tall boy, right? But I want to continue to drink something, and so I want to feel something, and so that's where holy water came in. It's like, let's put this in your body because not only is it going to help you right now, but it's going to help you while you sleep. It's going to help you tomorrow. So we have like Laird Hamilton and Gabby Reese. They buy the brand from us, and they're like, "This is one of the best brands out there. We love what you do. It helps us sleep. It gives us energy." They're on subscription. They're really good friends. They're super dope, and they really help pump my last company too. So they're amazing people in the industry, and that's really what it's about for us is seeing people like that who are the early adopters, who are also the stakeholders, like Josh, like Gabby, who aren't imbibing with wine and beer at night, and they want to still be social. And so that's why this non-alcoholic play for us was really ideal because I said, okay, I can't compete with water at these venues, right? Because they all have a water contract, and then I can't be a CSD or I can't be an energy drink, and so a mocktail was a great place for me to land. And then, well, what do I want to make people feel something and I want to solve it in a, something that people need. And that's hydration. And then even like right now, I don't have my focus ski, but that's what I would take before this, right? Because when I played ball, I would always drink a Red Bull, right? And then at halftime I drink a Red Bull again.
It makes total sense, and I think that's where I am as a consumer myself as well, is I'm not completely sober, but definitely there are times at events where I wanna, like, not have another alcoholic drink or start with a non-alcoholic drink. Like, just the other night at a dinner party I was at, there was both Gia or Gia, I always don't know how to say it, the, like, non-alcoholic yeah, spritz, and there was wine, and so I could kind of, like, decide, "Okay, now I wanna have the non-alc option and now I want wine," and like having those options feels really great for consumers like me or also for completely sober consumers. And so it's exciting to see that that's kind of where the industry is going. I'm curious, as you've been having conversations with both consumers and like retailers, distributors, things like that, like even at an Expo West, for example, what's been kind of the response from those in the industry? Like, are they Are they seeing the growth of this space as much as, so many of the, like, consumers or, like, creators like yourself are?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you look at the leading brands like Gia, like, Ohio, who's the top dog, and Kin Parch and the Soy, who I love, they are crushing it, and the retailers are doing a great job coming around to understanding where these drinks belong in store, right? Because there is no set. There's still not a functional set. There's RTD coffee, soda, protein, things like that, enhanced water, and then now it's like, okay, well, where does a functional drink go? It goes in a cooler, but where does it go on the shelf? Right? Where's the mop? You know? And then for the non-alc, it's like, oh well, let's just all put them in the non-alc section. And that's tough too, because now that's like the canned wine set that I was just in, convenient wine, and you're putting it into that mixer set. And are those people going and looking for that over there, or where are they shopping in the store? So I shop at Heinen's, one of the most beautiful stores, and Matt Shelley's an amazing buyer out of Ohio, and they kill. Recess is probably the number 1 too with Ohio, and, like, they crush, right? They're doing the right thing. Matt's put he's promoting it in the best way with these end caps in center store, so it's all about getting it in front of the consumers, and then the education. The education's massive, and it's a huge hurdle for us. That's why what we sell is hydration, we sell focus, we sell performance, we sell non-alc. When you start looking at my can, you're gonna be like, "What is R13-butanediol?" Right? What is this stuff? What is L-alanine? What is schizandria berry? What's chaga? And then obviously, making sure that you can get in front of people and talk to them, because our industry knows, and that's what I tell everybody, right? Like, our industry knows what holy water is. They know us as founders. I've been in the game since 2004. They know us as what our ingredients do, but then we have to be able to educate the buyer, and the buyer is getting to that place where the buyer knows now, but then who doesn't know is still the customer. The customer has no idea. So it's still like, what's the prettiest can? Or what did I see on Instagram? Or what did Jane tell me about? Right. So it's still that same amount of marketing, and then getting into a level of, obviously Amazon's a great place to start, because people they trust what they're buying off of Amazon, and it's simple for them to make that transaction. So the more difficult we make it for them to transact, the harder it is for them to get liquid lips and for us to get stomach share. So it's a long. That's why being in beverage businesses are so expensive. They're easy to get into, and that's why you see so many entrants, because it's a low cost of a low barrier of entrance. But then it's hard to maintain, right? It's a minimum of a year if you're trying to do things on a large scale.
What do you prioritize when it is such a high cost, game with beverage in terms of the marketing and all these things? Like, how do you prioritize where to put your dollars and what feels most important, particularly where you are now, a little more than a year in, I guess, or a little less than a year?
Yeah, for me, it's humans, right? Human capital is huge for me. I have a great team with Jeremy, Jasmine, Travis Wilkerson. He's from Uptime. He started from the bottom in this business. I've got a great team that I outsource for D2C right now with Austin and Hannah and Leon. My wife's our fractional CMO. So it's really the people, working with the people that we have, and in our brokerage, then investing in our distributors. That's where I start with it. We have a great Anheuser-Busch distributor, Jack Hilliard in Texas. And if we can invest in their people, invest in our people, then we know at the end of the day we're doing the right thing. And that's why it's funny when that last distributor just told me that I was like my soul sucked. It's like, bro, this guy knows me for years, and he knows my best friend. He's best friends with my best friend. And I'm just like, bro, like, we would have invested so much into your distributor and into your people, because that's really what we're about. And I'm a very cerebral individual. So this is a tough business to be in. And I want to make you at least like your job and like who you work with. You don't work for me ever. We all work together. So the fact that we can get our team positive, and then if you're talking about, we have to go D2C. We have to focus on our D2C metrics. That's really where we're investing our time right now. And again, our shop's small, so we make money on the shop, but people buy more of the cans, so it's a cost loss. That shot's in about 1,000 C stores also. So you talk about how we execute. Rep Rally is a really cool. These drop ship agencies that we work with, Rep Rally, Fair, Air Goods. Again, that to me all still folds in the D2C. And then it's invest in DSD, right? KHE and my Anheuser-Busch, but grow slow, go methodically, go deep. And just the retailers that you're in, put a lot of opportunity. We're going to work with a guy, Greg Link. He's an amazing dude. He really started Poppy and their awareness. So really get with people that have I would say, passion for getting our brand and our messaging out there. So again, starting with people, but then going into the trade spend, D2C, and then obviously promotional pricing's big. So people want to buy your drink. My drink everyday low price is like 349, 399. That's a high entry rate for somebody to go pick up, right? You could do a lot with $5. So for me, but then when you look at like it's a coffee, I go get my flat white every morning and it's still $6, right?
Totally.
And my drink is so much more effective than 90 milligrams of caffeine, right? Some milk. So that's where you also have to put it into your mind is that I've always done this. I've always taken the ethos of use the best ingredients possible. Even my canned wine, I would buy everyone else buys jug wine or orange wine. That's like the gnarliest, grossest stuff, right? 3 cents a gallon. And it's like for me, I bought $12, $18 gallons of wine. And that's the same thing I do here is I buy real juice. We buy this R13 butane all these really great mushroom extracts, all these nootropics, all these vitamins. And we know if we're putting great things in the can, at the end of the day, we're going to win. We're going to make people feel well. And that's the thing. When people buy our drink, we get consistent velocity. We have returning buyers. And that's how you know that the project has validity, that you're getting repeat sales, right? So that's the biggest thing too as an entrepreneur in this game is like you can't force the idea to be relevant because you're passionate about it. Just because you like what you're doing, if the consumers aren't giving you that feedback and that response and you're not seeing it through velocity, then you need to change or you need to stop doing it, right? I take calls all the time from folks in the beverage business about, hey, can you do this? I actually mentor folks formally at an online entrepreneurial university, and I teach people how to build beverage companies. And I tell them straight up, like, "Hey, it's a labor of love, and you gotta love what you're doing, but you're not gonna make any dough a long time." Like, last year, I think I made 22K, right? In, like, the first 18 months, 22K, like, that's not even livable, man. Like, my taxes on my home are 26,000. So when you start talking about, is this a viable business to be in for you? A lot of the time the answer is no. And you can't get to a place where you see the validation and get through these hurdles. That to me it's like a game. It's like, okay, can I get to the next step? Can I get to the next step? Even getting investment dollars is very difficult. And I have a great track record. I'm like 3 out of 4, 3 out of 5. I know the best people in the business, like Ken Sadowski and Josh Wan and the Giannuzzi's, and they're all amazing. But it's like we love what you do and Noah Bremen, but it's like, bro, you gotta prove this, right? Just as we like you and we love Jasmine and think Jeremy's cool and we love the can, like you gotta go make it happen. And if you don't make it happen, then there's no reason to take my good money and put it against a bad group of people executing it. So that's what we've done. We banged our head against the wall. We've made it happen. I think we've redone our website about 15 times, so we're finally getting to a place where our website's gonna be relaunched again for the 10th time. So we're excited about that. And then the D2C space has really taken off for us. And now finally moving forward with retail is our next step.
We'll be right back.
All CPG brands need business insurance. Let's hope you don't have to use it, but if so, you better have a good policy. We get asked about it in Slack all the time. When do I need general liability, product liability, workers' comp, all that stuff? I always tag in our friends at Amelia Risk Insurance. Just talk to them, you will see what I mean. We use them personally, so does Fishwife, so many other brands from the community. They know you need coverage, but also you need to save money, so they will help you understand exactly what do you need and fight to find you the most affordable and effective policies. Reach out to them at ameliarisk.com. That's AMELIA risk.com. They're really happy to have a very friendly chat with you to get started.
Yeah, I was just thinking of as you're talking about how you're spending money and all these things, I was thinking about another expensive area, which is a trade show like Expo West, which you guys were just at. And, retail, as you're saying, sort of being the next step. How did you approach Expo West and how did it go for you guys?
It went great. I mean, and again, the only reason we did it was because we could afford it with Startup CPG. So, you know, the cost that startup had was less than the cost it was for them to bring our pallet out of the back to the booth. So
Right.
yeah, our biggest thing was liquid to lips, full cans. We brought a pallet, 104 cases, gave out every single can, just charged hard. I had my partners from Latin America in. I had like 6 of them in. We're funded very well from a couple groups in Latin America right now, so that's where our ties are at. They were super impressed, and they're just like, "How do you keep this energy?" And I was like, "It's like we all we got's my phrase," and I'm like, "That's all we have to. Like, who else is gonna do it if we're not?" So, the amazing event. Daniel and the CPG team. It was well positioned, and we had great traffic. So met a ton of amazing people, reiterated to a lot of the people we've been meeting with that were doing the right things. Um, and it's just funny, right? You run into like the head Whole Foods buyer, and then you had to run into the head of the Wegmans buyer, and you run into the people that are you aspire to get your product in front of them at some point. And the fact that you can do that all in a matter of 72 hours, it's massive, and that you can get liquid lips. I stalked Gary V and I gave Gary V a can. I see your name tag and I know your name, right? I'm coming for you. So it was cool. It was cool to be able to execute it. And those are always super nostalgic and community building. And there's so many great events around it, right? Like the Family Fund had an amazing event. The next day Giannuzzi had an amazing event. And just to see everyone in one place at the same time, I love that, right? I actually took my family and the baby with us, and I didn't get to spend a lot of time with them out there, but it's nice to have their support and just to see all the people in our industry at the same time. You get to see a lot of old colleagues too. That cauliflower dill pickle pizza was the best thing out there. And then what's great, I had never really noticed. I've done Expo a few times, but it was always with Vita Coco, so it was always a bigger scene for me. So to be able to do it with my own brand and be small, like, literally, it's a backdrop and a table and a pallet of product. Like, we just gave out cold cans and a couple barrel coolers. And we run it like I run my restaurants, right? Like, just keep backstock cold, move it to the front, keep putting cans on ice. So and what's cool again, yeah, is that CPG community, like Leisure and like the girls from, the tea company that were across from us and the gummy person next to us and the cookie lady next to us and Twisted Alchemy. It was just a really cool, again, I really credit Startup CPG with giving me some calm in the space of the store all the time.
Yes, it can definitely be a very chaotic and busy event. So I'm glad that the Startup CPG section, gave you a little calm. I'm curious too, for people who might be, you've done Expo a couple times, for people who maybe have never gone to Expo before, or even at any big trade show and are thinking about exhibiting or even just walking the show with samples, do you have any advice for how to gear up for your first time at one of these big trade shows?
Yeah, not really, right? It's like you gotta figure it out. I mean, I see people walk the floor, and I've walked the floor of shows sometimes, and I think that's aggressive, but you guys had meetings that were set up. Range Me had meetings that you could set up, and that was really cool, the one-on-one piece. And I also am always I'm like, if I don't have, like, my own food in the fridge, I'm not gonna eat anybody's food, right? I'm like that kind of person, so I don't like selling from in the aisle. I don't like going up and coming out from walking the show, and I know it's a more cost-effective way, so I don't knock it, but it's just I don't like it because I know how much your energy is to be behind that line, and then you project so many people. So with regard to exhibiting, you always got to make sure that you're confident you're going to get at least one sale that pays for the show, right? That's always my mentality is if you're going to spend some dough, like at least know that you have to get one anchor out of that show. And then when you do, you're stoked. And that to me is really where that's my goal. It still is. It always has been. My dad started taking me to trade shows when I was like 14 years old, and I collected money from him for his company, selling sports memorabilia. And it was like, that was always his advice to me too, was like, just pay for the show. And so then when you do that, you're like, okay, now I can stack another one with the confidence that I'm in. But I really like what you guys do with these smaller opportunities where you have all these buyers come and it is that's the key right now is getting in front of the busy buyer and I've never used brokers before because I'm really pleasantly persistent. I could email you all day, every day, just for fun. Actually, I just reminded myself I got to email a guy right when we get off this call. And I'm gonna do it every day. I'm gonna do it 3 times a day, and I'm gonna be very nice to you about it. And I'm gonna say thank you, and I hope to see you soon. And please do what we are all here to do, and it's bring great products to the amazing consumers and better healthy for you products. Like that's my thing too. Is I'm not like uh I don't think like I'm an elitist at all. I'm always for the masses, right? And that's always what Laird says: make things for the masses, not the classes. And it's like I know what our product is. I know how effective it is. I know what we put in it, and then I do see some other brands out there, not the complementing brands I've seen, and said about, but I do see people that just want to get into the business because they think it's sexy and they want to make money, even if it's, a snack or whatever. And I get that, but at the end of the day, like, our bodies are evolving in a way in this world that we need to fuel them with the right stuff. And it's just too long when you start looking at why our parents are sick and what's going on with disease and sicknesses in our generations. I'm 42. It's because of what we consumed, right? Like, our food is killing us. It's not because you live by power lines or things like that. It's because of what we're eating. And that's why I know it's super critical for me as a maker to put forth the best possible product I can, and then from there, really work hard to make sure that I find my tribe, find people that love it, and then build within them. You know, human capital to me is the most important thing. Build within your consumers who champion you and give you that energy to keep moving forward every day.
Yeah, I love that. And I loved how you said you prioritize human capital because I think that is so important and can get lost, sometimes when we're thinking about like how to save money or how to do things like, well, I don't need, that person. It's like, well, we all need people and we all need connections and humans to help us and nobody has all the answers. So I love that that's a priority for you and for Holy Water. So yeah. Well, as we're coming up on the end of our time chatting, I always like to ask, like how can our listeners and the Startup CPG community support Holy Water and follow along on the journey?
I love that. I appreciate it. You know, just the same thing we're doing with Startup CPG is I think continue to uplift all brands. You know, the face of adversity is us, when we're in our offices by ourselves and it's dark and, the money's running out. And so just keep putting positive energy into the space so we all succeed together. For us, obviously, you can buy it on Amazon, buy it at your local stores, buy it at Bristol Farms, HEB soon, Sprouts soon, Costco soon, fresh time soon. So it's for us, it's like if you see it, try it. That's the biggest thing too, is I try everything. My wife knows that I try every brand. And she's not allowed to drink some brands, but I don't like some of the people that work at those brands. She knows what we're allowed to do. And like to me, it's like just the holy water space for me, it is, I feel like, regardless of how successful the concept is fiscally this year, next year, the year after, this brand's going to do great things. It's going to help people. It's going to get you a better night's sleep. It's going to get your gut healthier. It's going to put you in a mindset that you don't need to have that 15th tall boy. It's going to help you focus to get through that day. And that to me is, I know it, again, it's cliche, but that at the end of the day is why you do it, right? You don't just do it because you're going to run up a $2 billion deal. Like, we're all not Rohan, that guy's the only guy that does that, right? There's another few people, but at the end of the day, we do this because we want to make a great product for people. So, support us to try it. That's the biggest thing. You can use the code always 30. It's always 30% off to do that on our website. And if you like it, tell people. If you don't like it, tell me. Tell me what I can do better. I'll work with my team, and we're always here to try to make a better product for you. And we're, like I always say, we're blessed to be able to chase this dream every day. I've been able to do it for 20 years, and I always look back on it and I say, well, if I have to go work a corporate job the next 20 years of my life, I look back at how blessed I was and thankful for this opportunity at the beginning of my career. But the problem is nobody hires me. I can't get a job, so they don't. We can please. So
You're stuck in this business.
yeah. I have a startup CPG, and you guys are stuck with me for life.
Yes. We love it. I mean, we're thrilled and it's been so much fun to chat with you and learn more about Holy Water and I hope everybody goes and tries it and checks it out and sees what's up with Holy Water. And I will say, if you Google Holy Water, you got to make sure you put in that you're looking for the drink, the
And
non-alcoholic drink.
gotta put in holy water ketone, you gotta put in holy water mushroom. So we
Yeah.
holy water hydration, we've got a long way to go. But that's why when we have the hydration, the focus, the performance, we're working on it. But yeah, no, I feel you. This whole internet world. When I started my first brand, I think Instagram just came out, right? And been lapped ever since. And that's why you get these young gurus in the beverage space like Wild Wonder. They're doing a great thing through food service, and that's super inspiring for me. To see what they're doing in a traditional capacity. You got guys like Hio who crushed it online, Recess crushed it online. So I'm trying to figure out what to do still in year 20. And thankful to have a crew like you and thankful to have my team to be able to go do it.
I love it. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show, BJ. It was a pleasure. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, it would help us out so much if you left a 5-star review on ratethispodcast.com/startupcpg. I am Grace Kennedy, the host of the Founder Feature Series, so feel free to add me on LinkedIn or reach out to me on Slack. I'm always on the hunt for new and exciting brands to feature. And if you're a potential sponsor who would like to appear on the podcast, please email partnerships@startupcpg.com. And finally, as a reminder for anyone listening, if you haven't already, we would love for you to join our community on Slack. You can sign up via our website, startupcpg.com.